Alright, so hi everybody, I'm Justin. I'm one of the consultants here in Privasec, and I'm also thankful to be leading the offensive security team here. So today what I'm going to be going through with you guys are some frequent questions that are being asked with regards to what a red team engagement is, how do you go about it, what kind of requirements are needed, and what you can expect out of it. Hope you guys are able to gain a better understanding after watching this video. What is red teaming? That's a good question, because the concept of red teaming has been floating around for a while now, especially in recent years. Right? But what exactly is red teaming? What constitutes as a red teaming engagement? So first of all, red teaming is a concept that originated back in the days from the US military, with the main aim to simulate and demonstrate attacks of real-world adversaries. Of course, we are a military organization. The focus would be on wartime, right? But for the InfoSec World where we are in, the red teaming focuses more on the various aspects of your overall security, with its main goal to attempt to compromise. There are a couple of aspects of the security that we're looking at. First of all, your physical aspect. Second of all, we're talking about the social aspect in terms of your staff. And lastly, the technological aspects. So for physical aspects, right, we're looking at the logs. So you're looking at your physical doors, you're looking at barriers of your premises. Some possible examples of red teaming activities that might happen would be lockpicking or even RFID scheming. For the social aspect of your staff, right, this focuses more on targeting the awareness and general knowledge in terms of your staff for social engineering methods. Some common examples that are being used here are phishing, tailgating, and lastly, impersonation attacks. For technological aspects, this part is going to be more familiar for many individuals, right? The focus here will be on your devices within your environment. You're talking about your routers, talking about your lying around LAN ports. So some examples of this could be to access particularly sensitive information, and this could be done through connecting to your LAN port or even breach your internal Wi-Fi. Now, there might be a little bit more of the similarity to network infrastructure penetration tests that you guys might be thinking of. They're basically two different things. So to go into that, the main difference would be the red teaming is very objective focused. It's focused on achieving the crown jewels. It's focused on doing anything that is required to reach there to obtain those particular set objectives. Whereas a penetration test focuses on identifying as many security gaps, vulnerabilities within the environment, and at the same time, red teaming focuses on achieving a particular set of outcomes, whereas a pen test aims to achieve a wide breadth in terms of your entire environment. Let's give an example over here. So let's look at the crown jewels here as gaining access to your private Wi-Fi within your premises. From a penetration test perspective, some possible ways would be to brute force the password or even forcefully dropping ICMP packets and gathering those to decipher the password. Whereas from a red team perspective, what we're looking at is that this could be done either by impersonating as a new employee within your office and asking for the Wi-Fi password, or could even be done in the form of impersonation as a service repairman from the internet service provider. Another difference that we're looking at here, right, would be red teaming comes with a focus on evading detection, and as such, it generally creates lesser noise within your environment, whereas a traditional network infrastructure penetration test focuses on finding all possible vulnerabilities. So by doing so, this will require a large amount of scanning of all the ports or the IPs within your environment, and by doing so, this generally creates a larger amount of traffic and noise. However, this very particular aspect could vary from projects to setups. For example, you might be using particular CDN, you might be using particular endpoint detection within your internal environment for your network, right? And there could be a need to bypass said detections by either throttling the traffic and all that. So there are certain possibilities whereby network infrastructure penetration test generates less noise, but to compare that with a red teaming, generally a red teaming would definitely have less noise within the environment. So the benefits of red teaming would be to present to you a very controlled environment to test and access your organization's security team against a real-life simulated attack. With that, a better understanding of the company's environment and the effectiveness of the security controls can be assessed fully. Along with which is you get a report that you obtain, an explanation of the different attack vectors. Accompanying it would be clear evidence showcasing a breach, showcasing obtaining the said particular crown jewels. And with the clear evidence, this results in the findings being non-reputable. And lastly, what comes along with it are detailed remediation plans along with risk ratings. This will help your organization is that not only does it allows you to improve your overall security posture, it highlights a form of priority, so you are able to prioritize the higher criticality issues and to fix them first. For the past few minutes that we've been talking, the main focus of red teaming has a huge emphasis on compromising the particular physical environment. Now, this is a huge misconception because red teaming does not require an actual compromise of the physical environment, although that would have been the traditional concept, let's say going back 5 years, 10 years ago. But due to COVID-19 and the ever-changing landscape, there has been a huge shift. Now, the shift will focus a lot more on social engineering perspective. Well, if you observe, a lot of the attack vectors that were mentioned earlier do have a certain amount of social engineering within them. So let's take an example here. This could include phishing and pivoting attack vectors. Now, or rather of looking at them as two totally different attack vectors for a social engineering perspective towards red teaming, we can actually combine them together and look at phishing being the means to the cause of a compromise. For example, what we're looking at is a malicious executable being attached to the email and it's being sent, received, opened, and downloaded on your staff's computer. Now, running that particular executable could result in your staff's computer being compromised, granting your attacker an access in. This particular malicious executable could propagate, could spread to various other members of the organization through your internal access, through your internal network. And why is that so? Because right now, a lot of staffs are working from home, and how they're gaining internal resources is through VPN. This creates a large faith within your staff to use only staff-issued devices, and this could differ from people to people. There are people who are more comfortable using their own home setups, and this could open another set of all new vulnerabilities. All in all, red teaming can test your technological controls and ensure that trainings are in place to prevent a malicious attack from allowing an attacker to gain access within your system. And yes, there are actually requirements to a red teaming. Now, you might assume that, oh, red teaming is able to do this, red teaming is able to do that. But to basically achieve what is best for the organization, there are some entry-level requirements, let's say, that would be more beneficial to the entire process. The first being a minimum level of security posture. We're looking at having regular pen tests being done for your internal environment. We're talking about your network infrastructure pen tests, talking about maybe even your web app pen tests. What this would be useful is that it weeds out a lot of all these findings, a lot of all these vulnerabilities. There is a lot more focus on a pen test perspective simply because you don't want your red team consultants to come in to do the red team engagements only to find out a lot of flaws within your network infrastructure. This would take a lot of their time away from trying to reach the crown objective simply because there are just way too many low-hanging fruits lying around. That doesn't actually impact and doesn't actually assist the red team consultants to reach the end goal. Another level that we're looking at is in terms of maturity. And for this, we're looking in terms of policies, what kind of plans you guys have. We're talking about incident response plan, about your disaster recovery plan, talking about your business continuity plan. All these plans will ensure that your staff knows what is needed to be done when an actual attack and an actual compromise actually occurs. Last and foremost, to sum it all up, it basically means that your organization would require to have a certain amount of cyber maturity for your red team consultants, for your red team that you have engaged to enter your environment and perform the red team engagement. I hope that whatever that we have gone through earlier has helped you gain a better understanding of red teaming and answer any other questions that you are looking at. If there's anything you are unsure of, do reach out. Thank you.